welcome to the AmeriFirst AmeriTrust Speaker Series. My name is Craig Olmstead, and I will be the host for today's show. Prepare yourself for an inspirational story that you will not soon forget. Josh Frazee has had some life-changing curveballs thrown his way, and yet connected with each one to knock it out of the park. And the best part for Josh, it's only the second inning in this baseball game of life. And for those non-baseball fans, there are 9 innings in baseball, and Josh is just getting started. We use the term winning around here a lot, but Josh is the epitome of winning. You'll hear Josh's story in a minute, but I will tell you that Josh works for Remax by the Lake in St. Joseph, Michigan, married, 3 daughters, bought his first house as an investment right out of high school in 2003. Man, do I feel old. I've had the privilege to chat with Josh on 2 separate occasions now, and the last thing I'm going to tell you about him came to light at the end of our call on Wednesday. Josh has an incredible passion for giving back and serves as the vice president of the Real Help Foundation, which helps families in his communities. Today, we'll be donating $50 to this terrific organization for each question asked of Josh as we get towards the end of the show. Today's panelists today are Ron Burgum, president of the Southwest Division, and Doug Long, president of the Southeast Division. Josh, thank you so much for being with us today. And Ron, I'll let you get started with the first question.
Josh, welcome. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Well, I'm here. It's great to have you on, and we've gotten to really know you over the last 30 days, and it's been a pleasure. And your story is overwhelming and inspirational in every way. And I want to start with that. I actually want to start with just for a guy that's been in this business and check it 4 years. 4 years. 4 years,
right? Yeah.
And I think
May 13th was 4 years.
Yeah. So the reality of it is, and that includes quarantine.
Right.
So the reality of it is, you're probably going to close north of 180 units this year. I know that currently you're ranked, let's call it top 20 in all of the state of Michigan, with a bigger dream and vision of where you want to be above that in the next few years that we talked about. So we'll hope we can help you achieve that. But I'd love for you to just kind of share, like you've done with myself and Doug and others on the call, just your history, your background, how you got here, how you got in this business, this crazy business of real estate, and why you're in this business. And let's start with your background, buddy.
Yeah, so I mean, it is crazy. Real estate was going to be my retirement job because my plate has to be full at all times, kind of a person. But right out of high school, I became a journeyman bricklayer, wanted to do an apprenticeship. So what I did, I joined the Masonry Union, and they make you do a 12-week, 40 hours a week for 12 weeks, blueprint reading, building walls, tearing them down, with no pay. You had to pass that to start your apprenticeship. So did that, lived on ramen noodles and day-old 7-Eleven hot dogs for 12 weeks. Which whatever feeds you, which might have led to my later health crisis, but I'm not going to blame that. Anyways, started my apprenticeship. It was based on hours, so many hours on a saw, so many hours laying brick, block, and it's a 4-year program. I was able to knock it out in just a tad under 3 years. So when I was 20, I ended up being a foreman for a pretty large company laying brick and block all over the state of Michigan. And it was going good. I was learning a lot. I was, youngest guy by 20 years most of the time. And everybody was teaching me things. And my contractor kind of took me under his wing and taught me the business and was grooming me. He was in his late 50s and grooming me to take over the business. And then just like in 2008, everything kind of crashed down and there wasn't much work to do. So working 60, 80 hours a week down to 40 and 20 of that in the office. I seen my pay getting cut and was getting nervous and decided to get a job at the city of St. Joe. For the first year, I was on the garbage truck, picking up garbage, and I was doing chimneys on the side. I'd go knock on people's doors, seeing they had a bad chimney, and pick up side work on the weekends, and made up that price difference between being a bricklayer and a garbage guy. From there, went on to the water department, and they had opportunities where you can get license and stuff like that, and made a little bit more money. And I started a lawn care business where I had about 30 accounts I took care of on top of doing chimneys. So I was always busy. From there, met this redhead that was absolutely beautiful and smart. So like any smart man would do, proceeded, and she kept rejecting me. But the inner salesman in me overcame many objections, and I conned her into being pretty serious with me. I had a 2-year-old daughter at the time, and now she's 9, and they hit it off great. They became best friends, and our lives started kind of mingling together. I had a house in St. Joe. She had a condo in Stevensville, and we were pretty much living together. And at that time, I decided, hey, maybe we should sell one of the places, and we'll see where things go from there. And she's like, well, if we sell my condo, we have to get married. And I'm like, oh, we'll get married sometime. I really wasn't trying to rush into that. And I knew I was going to marry her. I just liked telling her no because I knew it drove her nuts. So I called up. Was noticing a guy was selling a lot of stuff around the area, and me being a real estate guy, you know, flipping houses. I had a couple rentals. I decided I was gonna give him a call, and that was Lars Petsky, who's now my broker owner. So I gave him a call. I wanted to know what his magic sauce was. Was he just selling families homes, or was he really hustling? And I found out he was hustling and doing the grind and getting deals. Him and I hit it off good. We became great friends. We were drinking beer, and he found out I could do side work. So I was doing all of his handyman stuff, and he was giving me 3-4 jobs a week to do. And at that point, I told Cassie that I think I'm going to quit the city and just do my own thing. I'm tired of having a ceiling. I need to show that I can make my own money. And she was very against that because of insurance and pension and all those things, and sick time and vacation time. So he sold the condo in a week. We moved into what was my bachelor pad that I was renting out to friends, and she soon cleaned up the house, got rid of the wolf rug and my beer can decoration and all that stuff, and made it more of a home. And I decided I would.
You put a stop to the man cave.
Yeah, put a stop to the man cave. It was fun. And she had a way of making it where it felt like I wasn't losing my man cave. But now I look back at it, she completely just, you know, made my life flowers and roses.
That's perfect.
Yep. So I decided I was going to marry her, and she was in charge of all my finances and everything, with everything going on. You guys still there?
Oh, yeah. We're
all
here.
Right. My screen just went away, so.
We can see it. You're rolling.
Okay. Anyways, yep. You still there?
I'm
We're
here.
still here, buddy.
Yep. Okay. Let me know if my screen's gone. So, anyways, decided I was going to marry her, and she was in charge of all my finances. I did a side job where it paid, you know, fairly good. And I was like, I'm going to keep this money, and I'm going to buy her a ring and surprise her. And she kept asking where this money was, and I said, oh, I haven't gotten paid yet. And then I could only go on for so long because she thought I was like cheating on her or something because I didn't have this money, or lying to her. So I finally proposed to her. When I say I did what any man would do. I had my 3-year-old daughter ask her for me, and she obviously said yes. So we had a wedding date set for May 13th, and this was in April, so it was a little over a year. Everything was going good. We're happy. We're saving money, planning on selling my St. Joe house and maybe building another house, and had some plans going on. And then around Thanksgiving, I got sick, thought I had the flu, Shortly after Thanksgiving, I got sick again, and she told me to go to the doctor. And back in October, I did a physical. Everything was fine, and I think I'll be good. And she insisted that I go to the doctor. Uh, we were going on a cruise in a week and a half. So she said, you don't want to be sick on the cruise. So I went to the doctor, and they weighed me, and they were like, oh, it's weird. In October, you were 20 pounds heavier. And, that's how fat I was. I didn't even know I lost 20 pounds. So um, from there, the doctor began to feel on my stomach, and she thought she felt my spleen. And she said, we need to have you go get an ultrasound, just to see. I think you might have an infection in your spleen. They might have to remove it. So I had to fast for that. And then the next day I went and had an ultrasound done. And it was kind of ironic. It was a woman that was 9 months pregnant giving me the ultrasound. I was making jokes and stuff. And my, fiance at that time, was telling me to be quiet. This isn't joking. That lady left. Uh, 3 doctors came in and asked if I was in any kind of accident or anything. And I'm, no, rough house with the boys. Sometimes we, might kidney punch each other at work or something. And he's like, no, you would feel this. We're going to need you to get a CAT scan. So we went down, had a CAT scan. Immediately after the CAT scan, they took us into their break room and, was basically opening up the refrigerator and giving their lunches to me and juices and whatever else they had, and told me to wait. The doctor needed to talk to me. So doctor came in, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, felt like a lifetime, and explained that there's a lot more going on than an infection in a spleen, that there's a tumor, and they're going to need to remove it. And at this point, Cassie and I were supposed to go on a cruise to the Bahamas next day. So they were like, you can't go, stay where you're at. You're probably going to have surgery the following week. So, my wife began, or Cassie at that time, my fiance, began to, seem very concerned. And I was just kind of playing it off like, oh, it's no big deal. Whatever's in me, they'll take out, we'll be fine. Then we went to the doctor the following week. And at this point, I was pretty sick. I was, puking daily, and it was hard for me to eat. And the doctor said, hey, we're going to have to give you a colonoscopy and figure out what this tumor is and things like that. So most of the listeners, I don't know if you've had colonoscopies, but it's you drink a lot of things, and they give you drugs before they do that kind of loop you out. So I was most nervous. I was like, hey, how about we just do the surgery, take this out? I don't need the colonoscopy. That's kind of weird type of a thing. And went and did the colonoscopy, and I was a nervous wreck. And apparently came to it from the drugs, after they were going over all the results and showing my fiance at the time what was going on and how everything was going. And they showed the tumor, and apparently I was, get it out of me, doc, making jokes. And my wife has quite the story on that. They took a biopsy of the tumor, and then the next day I was told that I had cancer. So then they scheduled a surgery to try to remove it the week of Christmas, and did surgery. They opened me up. They had to abort the surgery. The tumor was too big, too invasive. So when I woke up from the surgery, I asked my wife if they got it. She said, no, we have to shrink it, and then they can take it down. So basically the doctor said, hey, let's do, anywhere from 5 to 20 rounds of chemo. We need to shrink the tumor to about half its size, and then we can safely remove it. Because I just had an operation, we had to wait 6 weeks. So he said, let's go get a second opinion, because we can all work on this together. You have 6 weeks. So go to University of Chicago or go to U of M. So I chose, go blue, we'll go U of M. And from there, U of M did all these tests, and it was if you've never seen that hospital, it's a town of its own. There was many doctors we had to go see. It was a long day, and I was at that time, I was really sick, and they ran all these tests, did all kinds of procedures and different things, and came to the conclusion that yeah, we need to do chemotherapy and then do surgery after the tumor shrinks. So part of the test that U of M did, it was a genetic test, and they found out that I had what they call Lynch syndrome, which is rare. It's a genetic disorder that causes you to get cancer at a young age. So I was 31. My daughter was 4, and we were literally months away from getting married. So it was a very trying time at that time. So
Josh, you shockingly, right, you go through this brutal time, right, in your life where you're on a path, you're missed your trip, you go through this brutal news that you have stage 4 colon cancer, and then you go through the operations and you go through the chemotherapy treatment. And
well, yeah, I'm not so I had a surgery, they weren't able to do anything. So January 18th, I was supposed to start chemotherapy to shrink this tumor. U of M's doing tests on me and figuring out, okay, yep, that's the right procedure. So my wife and I, instead of getting married on May 13th, we, everybody worked hard. Her mom, my mom, everybody worked hard and pushed this wedding to January 16th because we thought, with the time frame of surgeries and different things, I was going to be too weak to get married. So January 15th, I'm hanging out with my buddy, trying to, I'm getting married the next day. Cassie's getting set up for the rehearsal dinner, and I missed a phone call from an Ann Arbor number, which is where U of M is. And then 10 minutes later, they called me back and said, hey, you're not going to start chemotherapy on Monday. We've decided we're going to do surgery because of this genetic disorder, the Lynch syndrome I was explaining. It's the way that disease works is it makes tumors grow slowly, but on the other hand, chemotherapy it doesn't shrink it as fast as if you didn't have the Lynch syndrome. So they thought chemotherapy might be just a waste of time, and they've got things figured out and they're going to remove this tumor. So I was in the mindset of, okay, I'm getting married, we're going to enjoy ourselves, and then on Monday I'm going to start chemotherapy and I'm going to knock this thing out. When the doctor told me back in Christmas time when I had the initial surgery that he had to abort because it was too big, I was like, give me a bowl of chemo, I'll eat it like cereal right now. Let's just get it shrunk and let's move on. I've got things to do. And so U of M came to the conclusion that they're going to remove this. So it was a whole mindset. I had to go talk to my wife at our rehearsal dinner, like, hey, we're not doing chemo. They want to do surgery on February 12th. And of course, she had a million questions, and I didn't have answers because I'm not a good listener when it comes to doctors and things like that. So February 12th, we get married. We enjoy the weeks we have, and then February 12th, leading up to there, we had a lot of different appointments to prep for this surgery that they said it's going to be anywhere from 10 to 24 hours long. And, part of it was they're going to remove, most of my colon and give me a colostomy bag. And they didn't know if that was going to be a whole lifetime or if they're going to be able to reverse it. And at that time I was making jokes like, oh man, that's going to be awesome. Fishing and hunting. I don't have to worry about it. It'd be great. And, again, my wife was pretty embarrassed, but we went ahead, did the surgery on February 12th. It ended up being, I think, 12 or 13 hours long. I woke up, they were able to remove everything, which was amazing. The doctor told me like, hey, tomorrow we want you to get out of bed, start, moving. It's going to hurt. I was so excited about it that I got up that night and walked from my bed to the door, and I really wanted to make it outside the door, so I made 1 foot out just to say I did it. The next day I was a little sore, got up, started walking. Within 3 days, I was walking around the whole unit and started feeling a lot better. We went home. Shortly after I went home, had a fever breakout, and my wife called U of M like she was instructed if my temperature gets to a certain degree, and they said I'll come to the ER. Went to the ER and I had some severe infections. They had to put 3 or 4 drain lines in me, and what they do is they stick drain lines through your pelvis in different areas, and they have this like grenade-looking thing that you squeeze, and it sucks the infection out. So now, I was getting over the fact of having a colostomy bag. That was the life changer. I wasn't thinking about it when they were telling me I was going to have it because it didn't really matter. And then when I had it, it was like, man, this is going to be weird, swimming and different things. Like this is, hopefully they can reverse it type of a thing. Now I had all kinds of drain lines.
Well, the thing that's crazy right here when I listen to this story, which is just unreal, right? That what you're going through. And I know this is hard for you. I don't want to dwell too much on that stuff you had to go through because I'm feeling it with you. When you got through that part of it and then you realized you were going to make this transition or to real estate, as we were talking about the other day, really the reason why you made that transition is because you were depressed. You were really depressed, and that depression caused you to think, get out of the house, and I got to go do something different than just dwell on this stillness. And that's what was the trigger to actually get you to start thinking about real estate.
Yeah, so these drain lines actually started helping out, and I started feeling a lot better. And even before these surgeries, every day I would wake up and I'm like, I have to accomplish something. I have to, do the dishes or something. I'm not going to lay and die in this bed. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die trying. So these infections got better, and I started feeling a lot better. And I was like, okay, I went from having, a full-time job and 2 side businesses and things going on all the time to absolutely nothing, and relying on nurses to come in, take care of me and my wife, to help me out. And, I feel like I'm a provider. I want to give and help, and I don't receive help very well. So I called up City of St. Joe and was like, hey, I've got this idea. I'm going to drive around to all of our buildings and different parks and come up with like maintenance agreements and different things. And I just need to do something to get out. And I don't want to, you don't have to pay me. You guys have been good to me. Let's do it. And for obvious reasons, they wouldn't let me do that. So that really got me depressed. And my wife, without me knowing, set up a meeting with a counselor at U of M right after one of my appointments, follow-up appointments. And the counselor basically said like, hey, the fact that you're doing something is better than most. If you don't try, you're not going to do anything. So, basically suck it up and go after it. So we got in the car, and my wife, she was like, sorry.
No worries, man.
What are you going to do? And I said, well, the city's not, the answer. And she said, you've been doing handyman work for Lars. Why don't you call him up and see if you can help him out with open houses or something like that? So I called up Lars. He called me right back, and we made some jokes about cancer and not being a wuss. And he said, come into the office and let's see what we can do. And he was like, why don't you sign up, bring your laptop in, start taking your classes, and you can follow me around. And when you get your license, you'll be good. You're a hardworking guy. You've helped me out a lot. You'll be fine. So every day I got up, brought my laptop in, treated it as a job, would study for the class, follow him around to appointments, and basically just absorb as much knowledge as I could. And it felt great. I had a meaning, even though I wasn't getting paid or anything like that. It was the process. And I got my license, and during that time of studying and stuff, I was still calling people and setting up appointments, letting people know that I'm going to be a realtor. And a guy a friend of a friend called me and said, "Hey, I heard you're a hard worker and you're in real estate. I need you to list my house." And I was about 2 weeks away. Well, I was 2 weeks away from the test. I already done the class. I just had to take the state exam, and they were booked out. So I said, "Hey, look, my schedule's super busy. May 13th, I'm available at 5:30. I'll be there to list your house." He said, "No problem." So I instantly went to Lars and said, "Hey, man, I've got a listing appointment on the day I take my exam. So if I fail this, you're going to get a listing, and you get to make fun of me. If not, I need you there because I don't know how to list a house." And he laughed and said, "Deal." So I went, took my test, passed. While getting chemo, I had to carry this bag around and it's pumping chemo in, and I'm taking this test, and was super excited. Went home, went to Best Buy, bought a camera because I thought I needed one to list a house, and went to Lars. He printed off the papers. He basically walked them through the paperwork because I had no idea what I was talking about, and got a listing on the very first day. I got my license. And it felt great. So then from there, I started working, and I had, I think, 4 listings before I had any buyers. And then I got some buyers, and the end of August, I had my first closing. So it was, it was a hustle. It was a grind. We didn't have much money. I'm sitting here paying. Real estate's not a cheap business to be in. Scraping pennies. Sold a truck I had and some lawn equipment to keep it going. Then I had my first closing, and then September it was like 3. October, was great, and that snowball started building. And then
I make a note here, and when we were talking at the time, is that the note that I have is in the first 6 months you did 20 units, and that's from
May to December 31st.
Yeah, in the first 6 months of the business, and that's brand new licensed, 4 years ago. And I think Doug, if I'm going to invite Doug Long on here for a minute and have him join us.
I'm just curious, Josh, how come you're slacking, man? Six months and only 20 deals, carrying around
that's
a chemo bag, the whole. I mean, geez.
Yeah. So, that's if anybody on my team was like, "Hey, I'm going to do 20 deals in 6 months," I'd be like, "Okay, this is a part-time job, obviously." So the fire in me was my wife motivated me and got me, and then I started rolling, and she was like, "Hey, don't forget about your pension at City of St. Joe." I'm very much a risk taker, and my wife is very structured and very smart. So I knew I didn't want to go back, and I finished out chemo. I think October I finished chemo, and then November I had a surgery. I had tumors on my right side. They pretty much did everything on my left side, spleen, and some with my kidney. My wife can go over everything. I don't pay attention to that. But I had a spot on my right kidney, and they were going to remove that and then reconnect me and lose my colostomy bag. I was having so much fun in real estate and had such a great lending board. I was like, "Hey, we don't need to. I'll keep the colostomy bag. I'm used to it. catch me when it's slower, you know, when the economy dips or something. And my wife is like, "You're such an idiot. Like you still have cancer." And I'm like, "Oh, I forgot about that. I just thought it was for the colostomy bag." So we got.
That's by the way. That's a change of mindset, right? I mean, wow.
Yeah.
You went from depressed to 20 transactions to a whole career being built.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at the board behind you to see what we got on the board there, man.
There's 32, and we're negotiating 6 right now. So
that's right. That's right. So I mean, you're talking 4-year time frame here, right? So you start with cancer and you're depressed. And by the way, I think, and I won't dwell on this much, but I think you had a couple kids in between.
Yeah,
right?
Cubs win the World Series. My wife tells me the day the Cubs win the World Series that she's pregnant, which we were, you know, just happy. We, you know, with the chemo and stuff, we didn't know if it was going to be possible. And right now, so I have a 9-year-old and 2 2-year-olds, and they're not twins.
One's almost 3, one just turned 2, right? So,
yep, they're 10 months apart. So it's funny. My wife gets embarrassed. We have to drive, you know, push the double stroller around.
Well, that's awesome. So now you fast forward here over the last 4 years. You've went from, you know, a guy that just was on, you know, was kicking death's ass. I mean, really was, you know, having to deal with all that stuff, right? You're dealing with all that. You got 2 kids. You started a new career. You're giving up the security of the nice St. Joe's deal and the pension and all that, because all of a sudden the cash flow starts coming, and now you have a team. So man, tell me about your team, and tell me what happens with on your day, you know, your daily routines on your team and what you guys are doing on a daily basis.
Yeah,
so you don't go from 20 to now getting to 180 without having a team.
So I did 20 the you know, from May to December 31st, and that was my first time in, and it was a little over 3 million. It was great. So the next year I was setting up a business plan and my goals, and I said, all right, I did 20 my first 6 months. I'm slacking if I only do 40, because now I know what I'm doing and I've got it rolling. So I'm like, it'd be sweet to get paid every week. So my goal is 52, and I was like, let's go 60. So by March, I was looking at crushing 60. So I don't like crushing my goals, because that means I didn't challenge myself hard enough. So I put a goal out there of doing 100, and I was on pace of doing it. And my wife kind of pulled me to the side and was like, hey, this is great, but it's coming to a, you know, with an expense. You know, I don't want to be a single mom. And that really touched home. Kids are important to me, and obviously my family's important to me. So got an assistant to help out, and then I felt that, you know, I had to provide for her. You know, I couldn't just hire somebody and lose business and not be able to hire. So the motivation of more business came in. And so now I went to less work to more work because of my prospecting, and I added a buyer agent and hired a coaching system, Workman Success, which they're here supporting me. They're great. They've been helpful. Paul Sussman is the best coach around. Anyways, we started building systems, and now we just hired our 3rd buyer agent, and he's actually negotiating a deal right now. He started on Monday. So it's been awesome. We have John and Cam, who are absolutely crushing it. This morning I woke up to a group text that, you know, Cam wrote up 3 offers yesterday, John wrote up 2, and we're very, very competitive. So I'm trying my hardest right now to get some deals on my listings, because I'm not going to let them outsell me.
Hey, Craig, I was just going to ask for you for Craig Olmsted to join here midway point and talk about how we get some questions to Josh, and also
we also, I also have Josh Wilmore on the listing side. He helps me out, and he's negotiating 2 deals right now. They're all making me look bad, which makes me look good. So it's awesome.
Yeah, no, I want to get
By the way,
the.
Josh, can you see us? Are we back, Josh?
What's that?
Do you see us, or do you still black screen?
I can. Josh actually came in and helped me with the screen.
Awesome.
Okay, great. Hey, I want to get the fifth for questions rolling right away. Remember, guys, for those that joined late, we're going to give $50 to Josh's foundation. So the first question, Josh, comes from Nicole. How do you celebrate crushing your goals?
So right now, Michigan just opened up Monday for the breweries and stuff. So our team has been working super hard during all the quarantine time. They were calling 40 people a day on average and sending handwritten notes and helping out. So we're celebrating. We're getting a bus. We're renting the bus, and we're going to go hit some breweries and have a good time. So.
Awesome.
Hey, Josh, if I recall, you said there's IPAs.
Yep, IPAs
mean two things, right? Beer
yep.
and what else?
Income producing activities.
There you go. Well, that's awesome.
Good stuff.
Yes. So
I got a couple more questions here. I know. Sorry,
ahead,
Doug. I know you were going to jump in, but let's keep the questions rolling. Did you ever get to go on that cruise?
No. So that obviously got canceled, and the next year was kind of hard. And then we started doing all this. The business started blowing up. My wife and I have gone on lots of different little trips. We are, once things get normal, we're going to go to Bora Bora.
Awesome. We talked on Wednesday, and maybe it was the week before, but the one thing that I wanted to make sure that the listeners hear is when you were building your team, talk about some of the role playing you do, and talk about the point system that you do to keep everybody accountable, and how you lead your team as you continue to grow and grow and grow. And I think you just had an interview, and you were going to add somebody else here just this week, right?
Yeah, he started on Monday, and he's negotiating a deal right now. So we're part of Workman Success, and they have a good system in place it's called daily success habits. And for every IPA is basically a point or more. So a closing would be 15 points. Showing a client 2 homes, one client 2 homes would be 10 points. Role playing is 10 points. Each person you call is a point, and we strive to get 61 points. What it is good at is you can see how many points you get compared to closings, and that way you can structure your business plan. So I need to make 15 phone calls to set 2 appointments. I know I need 4 appointments to get an offer accepted. So we role play daily. Right now, with everything going on, it's 2 days a week. New agents role play with me every day. And we practice LP Mama, location, price, motivation, agency, mortgage, set the appointment. And obviously the Ford script. So we know those like the back of our hand, and we practice it, and it truly works.
So when you say role play, Josh, what tell us what that means. How do you get somebody out of the comfort zone? We've gone to a lot of video with Bomb and some of the things that we're working with our sales team on. We really believe in video, especially during these crazy times right now. But role playing, I think, has that same kind of uncomfortable feeling in the gut, right? It's not comfortable. It maybe seems silly. How do you get out of that comfort zone and really get into that role playing where you really see value in it?
Yep, we turn our backs, and I always explain to the new people, like, hey, this is going to be awkward because it feels like you're playing make believe, and you kind of are. But as you're talking to people and you come up with objections where people are, I don't want to list my house in the winter, I got to wait till spring. We're going to role play through those, and as a team, one person will be the agent, one person will be the person that's getting the objections, and be really hard. And we'll practice overcoming that. And then at the end of that session, we can talk like, hey, that was a great line. I'm going to use that. So then it becomes that we're all speaking the same language and we're overcoming the objections together. And I'm telling you, I've been role playing for a long time, and if I don't practice, I can see my numbers going down. It's every realtor listening right now should be role playing.
You told me
and
you
every loan officer too.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah.
Right, but you role play every day, literally.
Yeah, every day. Sometimes, commercials will come on and I'll start role playing with my wife. She gets so mad at me.
That's awesome. All right, well, back to the questions. Let's see. What is your favorite part about being an agent?
Serving people, without a doubt. I get to go out and help people that are wanting a house. It's their dream. A lot of times it's their very first home. They've never been through the process, and knowing that I got them a good deal or was a part of it. And now with leading a team, watching goals come in and seeing, agents make six figures, and I've helped that out. That's amazing to me. Nothing better, honestly. So.
Good. Switching gears a little bit, what do you look for in a loan officer? I know you've got a good one here at AmeriFirst.
Yeah, Jason's been rocking the communication. I know if I call him, he's going to answer or call me back fairly quick, and he's going to have an answer for me, and he's going to be honest with, like, hey, here's the hiccups, and this is what we're doing. He has an answer for the problem, and he's all ears. If I say, hey, what about this? He's not afraid to be like, yep, let's try that. That's a good call. So it's just being a team. That's part of the Frazee team, honestly. So it's awesome.
That's great. How'd you guys meet? So for those people, let's say a loan officer listening today, what tips can you give them that brought you and Jason together?
Yeah, so it was pretty easy. I was putting an offer in on one of my very first deals, and it was with an agent that I looked up to. He had no idea I looked up to him, but I liked this guy. He hustled, he grind, and his name was Dan Morissette, and still is hustling. And I had a client from out of state, and he goes, I'm not looking at your offer unless you call up Jason Colberg because I can trust him. So I called up Jason Colberg. He got us approved, and away we went. And it was just because it was like he knew this was kind of nuts. So, and it worked out. And my client was super happy. He's like, I'm glad. The other company was having me do all this other stuff. Like, thanks for recommending. It was great. So, and now Jason and I here we are.
Awesome. This comes from another Josh. Has the pandemic affected your business at all?
Well, obviously in Michigan, we couldn't put signs in vacant lots from May 24th to May 7th. But it has helped my business. All the guys got so used to calling people. I was more the big dialer, calling 30, 40 people a day. Now it's pretty easy for them, and their business is booming. We're at May 7th, we were still 4 transactions ahead of where we were last year. And now we just can't, we have 32 accepted right now, but I'm sure 3 more just got accepted. So every day it's more deals. And if we don't hit 100 transactions in the end of August, everybody's fired.
Hey, Josh, when you say making the call, we know you're a dialer. We know you're a call crazy guy. You're after it. Does that mean the rest of the team then picked up on that skill set during this pandemic? That all of a sudden they know you're always calling, but now they're calling as much as you are. Is that what the big change has been?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. John, he was our lower dialer. And that was fine. His business was working, but now he's calling 30, 40 people a day. And it just built that confidence because we weren't calling to sell anything. We were calling to check on people and see if they needed help with anything. Then we all came up with the idea of calling our business partners and seeing if we can mastermind anything and help out and get PPP information and the different programs that the government had going on. And it was a great confidence builder.
Hey, Josh, can you expand upon that? Your business partners. So it's just you actually get together with a lot of different businesses within the community, right? And you're the real estate resource for those guys.
Yeah. We try to be. We have restaurant owners and different stuff, and we're big brewery people, so we go to the breweries. Every morning, our team does a huddle at 9:15, and we go over transactions. Every other Friday, right? It'll start next week because they'll be open. But we used to go to the local donut shop, and we would do our huddle, and everybody that came in would get free donuts from us and coffee. And we're supporting the business and the owner, and they loved it. And we would advertise it on Facebook and do different things. And obviously, people would love coming in and getting free donuts. And it's a pay it forward thing, because all of a sudden we get clients calling us up. Thanks for buying us donuts. You want to list my house? Absolutely.
that donut routine, which has been an awesome one. So that's usually run that, you said, from 8 until 11 at least. It can go on longer, but you just own that shop. You're there. You live there. Everybody that walks through the doors, it's on you.
Yep, I've had $300-400 tabs. So
yeah, well worth it.
Yeah,
well worth it. So continuing on with that, how do you interview those professionals, other people you're working with, home inspectors, contractors, anybody else that you might want to refer business to? What's that process look like?
So home inspectors, if I personally wouldn't use them for myself, I don't recommend them. And I had them inspect my house, and they did a great job. The communication was top notch. So, I can trust them. They're not gonna, so I use them first, basically.
Yeah, good. A couple of questions here in regards to what does the day in the life of Josh Frazee look like? There's a question here about before the pandemic, and then what is it going to look like after, and what does your day look like for Josh?
So the day in the life before the pandemic was wake up at 5 a.m. Everybody needs to read the Miracle Morning. I try to live my life like that. Get myself organized, because like I said, right now we have 2 2-year-olds and a 9-year-old, or going to be 9-year-old. And so from 5 a.m. till 7:30, my life is pretty peaceful. After that, there's food everywhere and kids screaming, and so once we get them up and organized, I'm in the office about 8:30. I usually do a role play with Josh, my listing partner, and then at 9:15 we do our huddle. That's 15 minutes, and then we role play as a team, and then we go on and we have an ABC follow-up, which whatever day of the week it is. A's are clients that are pre-approved and ready to buy a house in the next 30 days. B's are the next 30 to 60 days. C's are 60 to 90, 180 days. And we make sure we touch base with all of them. And then we prospect for an hour, and then we go on and do showings and stuff. So try to time block as much as we can.
Do you follow this? I don't know if people can see it. I'll probably put it.
Yeah. Oh, my wife sent that to you.
I have it, and because I know you went through a lot of things right there. But is this what the team is actually rolling through this every day? The checklist is awesome.
Yep.
The checklist is awesome, and that's super helpful. Do you guys stay pretty true to it?
Pretty true. I mean, we have what we call my perfect week, which is kind of that outline. And sometimes things get messed up time-wise, but we stay pretty true. Everybody gets that. And to keep on the lead rotation, that has to be filled out and turned in.
This was the lead tracker.
Yep.
Yeah, and is that also a daily checklist that is kind of at the end of the day, people are looking at their tally? Maybe you could talk about that for a minute as to the reality of the points versus the results.
Yeah. So I'm about 200 points per every closing. I can, 61 points a day, and the team is about 240, 250. And lately, after this COVID thing, it's a lot less. Like our numbers are amazing, rushing it. But in our huddle, anybody that got a new lead, we talk about it, and we make sure we put it in the lead tracker so it doesn't get forgot, and we put it in our CRM so that way, if they're a B buyer, we're calling them on the weeks that are the B weeks, and they're always getting emails, and we're communicating with them about our client appreciation events and different things. Is that
yeah? Say, Josh, there's also you said you start with one book in the morning. So tell me that, but then you have two other books that for sure that you always want all your guys to read.
Yeah,
What are
The Miracle Morning and 7 Levels of Communication, and Ogmandino is the greatest salesman in the world. I give all those books out like candy, and everybody knows their scrolls. When the team was a little smaller, we used to actually read a scroll every morning. It just gets your mind right, and it's a great book. Everybody must read these books.
Good stuff. And Michael Mayer, a friend of our company, and now of you. That's awesome. The seven levels. Good stuff. So you shared with us a little bit about what a day looks like. Maybe dig a little deeper in regards to how you balance the high production and make time for your family. That work-life balance. Is there anything extra that you do to make sure that you keep that in check?
Yeah, systems. Everything has to be systems, and that's the checklist there. Our admin, they're the true rock stars, because us salesmen, we're very disorganized. We're high production, and they get offers, and they get it all organized and communicate well with us. So the communication level between the admin and the salespeople are amazing, and we're a big family. We hire and fire to our core values, our mission statement, and basically we hire. If we can't see ourselves having a cocktail with you after work, you're not going to be part of the team. We're very family oriented, and everybody that's on our team is part of our family. So when something is wrong, it's easy to tell your brother, like, "Hey, you idiot, why didn't you do this?" And that's kind of we don't call each other idiots. My wife does me all the time. We keep it organized, and we have fun. Just yesterday in our huddle, we brought Tom on as our new buyer agent, and we're going over our 4 pillars of income and our business plan and goals. And Cam was like, "Hey, what's your goal? What's your goal?" And Tom, without blinking, said, "2 more than you." I was like, "This is perfect. We're gonna do well here." So
great stuff. IPAs by day and IPAs by night. Good stuff. What's your favorite activity to get a deal?
My calling people, cold calling. That's my favorite activity. That's, without a doubt. Or going to the brewery and meeting friends with a stranger and all of a sudden getting a deal out of it. So
Love it. I've been holding this question back, and this is our 10th question, so it will be at least $500 towards your foundation. So congratulations on that, Josh.
That's amazing.
And again, thank you for being here. But this question comes from Nicole. What's next for Josh Frazee? What is the next year? 1 year, 3 year, 5 year? What does that look like?
Well, this year I want to crush. Our goal is 184, and I keep talking 200. I want to hit 200 so bad, and so I want to buy the team a Mario Kart arcade. That's what they want if we hit our goals. I really want to spend the $25,000 on that. That would be awesome. And in the next couple of years, I want to be #1 sales in Michigan and have a dominant team that loves to serve their community.
What was that timeline on #1, just so we can all be on the same page?
2 years. Let's go 2 years.
Gonna hold you to it, man.
Let's do it. Write it down. I know my coach is writing it down right now.
Yeah, so is Jason Colberg. He's writing it down as well.
Yeah.
And one of your teammates must be on here because I saw in the question box Mario Kart was in there earlier. So I wondered where that was coming from. I now I remember you saying that earlier. So
yeah, that came for a fun celebration. We went to Dave and Buster's. We went on a Tuesday. We had somebody drive us up there, and we got there right at 11 a.m. Started eating and drinking, and we played Mario Kart. It was this big thing you get in and you drive, and we had a blast. It was so fun. We were all getting competitive. We didn't drink any beer because we were trying to beat each other, and that's what they wanted. If we hit our goals, they wanted a Mario Kart, and I said I can deal with that. So.
Well, I just want to post this. I'm gonna invite Mark Jones and Dave Game, our co-founders and co-CEOs, to join us here just as we wrap up here. We've got about 5 minutes left, but I wanted to put this back. Our marketing team created this for you so everybody kind of understood, what the foundation is, where they can find you. We want to help build you. We want to help get you to that #1 spot in the state of Michigan. So, anybody, whether they're in Florida, anybody, you got a deal in Southwest Michigan or anywhere in Michigan, probably, right, Josh? You'll help them. So the contact information, I'm going to leave it on the screen. And Mark, Dave, take it away.
Hey, Josh, wow, that was so inspiring. I mean, and so moving. I mean, I listened to your story where many people would just give up and say, life's not fair, and just suck into a little cocoon and shrivel up. You complete other path, and what an inspiration. I'm just so motivated by what you've been able to accomplish, and Godspeed to you, brother. Keep it going. You're on the right track. Thank you so much for being part of our speaker series. I'm sure there's a lot of value that everybody out there has gotten from it. So thank you very much. I hope to see you in the future at one of our Kalamazoo Michael Mayer events.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you guys doing this for me. It means a lot.
Yeah, and I will echo Josh. To sit and listen to a story that it would be so easy to feel sorry and give into it, but man, the way you battled back and continue to battle, you kept looking forward. That's what I kept hearing, is you were looking for the next way to get better. And I heard the pain in Ann Arbor, and man, you could get caught in that, and you're looking for the next deal while you're sitting in Ann Arbor. So it is a inspiring story. I hope that that the folks on this call really listen to the core, what makes you drive, what makes you tick, and can take that away, because our speaker series is grounded and founded on people that are difference makers and leaders and the best in the business. And brother, you are absolutely that. So God bless you. Stay what you're doing, stay healthy, and can't wait to see you back here again.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm humbled. Thank you.
All right, we've got time for one more question. What was the title of that 7 Levels book again? We all know it here on the tape, but I'm gonna let you say
the 7
it,
Levels of Communication.
That was probably
written by?
That was probably
Michael Mayer.
That question.
Yeah.
That might have been. All right, guys. Any last thoughts or questions before we wrap this up?
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, real quick, Ron. Before just. Can you tell us a little bit about Real Help Foundation and what it does?
Yeah, so the Real Help Foundation was kind of accidentally started. There was a realtor in our association 10 years ago that was putting on golf events and putting the money to the side for when realtors got sick or got in an accident, down on their luck, and he would be able to give them money. And then that realtor got sick, got cancer, and there was a lot of money he had saved up. So the foundation started from there. He was the very first recipient. From there, we built and raised enough money to where we could start not just helping our fellow realtors, but other people in the community. This year, we gave money to kids with cancer, house fires, different things like that. So I just became vice president, and I implemented goals. I was like, all right, we need to raise $20,000 And then this last meeting, I said, let's bump it up to 25,000. So we give over half of it away every year, and I want to give more. So I appreciate you guys helping out. This is amazing. So,
Ron, last thoughts?
Yeah, a couple things and one of the things that just strikes me as we have this conversation and have over the last several times we've talked is that just the amazing part about your mindset, just the fabulous mind that you've invested in yourself. One thing you said to me, and I wrote it down today because I've actually never heard anyone say this. You said, "Real estate doesn't get sick."
That's right. When I got my license and started rolling, Lars, him and I are still competitive. I'm still in the same office. He would come in and be like, I sold 7, I sold 8. And then other agents would come in and join, and one wasn't in for a while. Like, what's been wrong? And he's like, oh, I've been kind of sick. And I'm like, oh, poor little guy. Real estate doesn't get sick. So let's keep pushing.
That really stood out in my mind. I think it's for people to hear this message and really think about that. The other thing that you really,
I was carrying a chemo pump with me when I said that.
Yeah, that's what my point was. Like, you don't have to. So you also said it in that same vein. You said, I was really depressed, and there were kind of 2 different ways to look at it. One was why I can't, but what you said was why I can. And that the power of just, I can, it's not there's always, you can say why I can't do something, but to shift that mindset to say why I can was huge. So instead of seeing roadblocks, you saw those as excuses and things to overcome. And I think that to kind of just put, a cherry on the top of this, those things are very powerful that you've said and mentioned and part of this whole conversation. So I thank you for those words of wisdom and great mindset from all of us. So I really appreciate you, Josh, and I know we appreciate you, and your story has just been phenomenal, and we look forward to the ongoing partnership and value that we create for each other, and we look forward to doing that with you.
Thanks. I'd like to thank you guys. Obviously, I'm deeply humbled, and I've been excited since you guys asked me to do this. I've seen some of these speakers, and they're a lot bigger of a fish than I am, so I was shocked that you guys wanted me on here, so that I'm honored to be here. And then obviously Remax in Michigan has been great to me and worked in success. So, and then my family and team, they're all rocking, and I appreciate you guys for doing this. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Josh. Thanks everybody for being with us. We've got another speaker series coming in July. Be safe, everybody. Have a great day. And Mark, we got final. There it is.
Yeah, there's the Mario Kart.
There it is. $22,799 right there on eBay. Or
that's awesome.
Yeah, I just wanted to have Josh visualize his goal one last time before we say goodbye. There it is, brother.
That's right. I love it.
Awesome. And we've got $500 courtesy of the participants today for asking questions over to the Real Help Foundation. So again, Josh, thank you so much. We're at the top of the hour. Appreciate everybody. Stay safe. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll take care.
Thank you.